This is the Cherryleaf podcast.
Hello, my name is Ellis Pratt. I'm one of the directors at Cherryleaf. We are a technical writing services and training company in the UK, and today's episode, on a rather cool June morning, makes a pleasant change from some of the hot weather that we've had and that's predicted to be here with us soon, is: are we moving to a question and answer world? And this has been prompted, inspired by a post by Michael Andrews on LinkedIn and a follow-up by artist Rami with her thoughts. It was an interesting topic, and we have done a blog post on this documenting our thoughts. I thought it would be a good topic for the podcast, and also we can combine it with talking about the results from our recent survey into the use of AI in technical communication, see whether the trends that were reported in that indicate whether this is happening, this trend, if it happens towards a Q&A world, is happening today, whether it might happen in the future. Technical communication has, for many years, been rooted in instructional information, instructional guides, resources where users could go when they get stuck, when they need information on how to do something or how to resolve a problem. And one of the challenges, lots of discussions in technical communication, is how can we make that information available to users? How can they find it when they need it? And the model that we have is essentially that users search for what they need, they find it, and then they read it. And on the provider side, the writer side, the goal has been to make the content easy to find, as well as easy to understand and easy to act upon, that it's actionable. And all of that still has its place. But it may be that the way that users want to get to that information, access that information, could be undergoing a significant and seismic shift. And on LinkedIn, Michael Andrews suggested that technical communication is moving towards a new paradigm, excuse me for using the word paradigm, a new world that's a question and answer based world. And artist Rami added her comments to Michael's post. According to Andrews and Rami, chatbots are shifting the emphasis from reading to asking. The argument is that reading requires effort, time, focus, and often some previous knowledge about the topic. Asking, in comparison, is fast, it's intuitive, it's accessible. And in this new model, users don't need to know where the answer lives, they just need to know what they want to ask. Let me quote from Michael Andrews' post. Online content testing centred on issues as to whether users noticed information and messages and how they understood them. Ebooks might tally which passages were most frequently highlighted. Already a range of apps are available that allow users to load URLs or PDFs of content and ask questions of the material. These tools support a more active relationship with the topics than the passive reading offered by static pages. They allow users to look at content more broadly and selectively. With chatbots, the reader's agenda becomes more important than the author's. We can gather insights into what readers are curious about and how similar those interests are to what the authors have written. It's not just whether the content covers an issue, but how the content addresses it. The value of content will increasingly be defined by how effectively it shows its relevance to users' chatbot conversations. And artist Rami, in her reply, said, users preferring a questioning interface over a reading one isn't the end of traditional technical writing. Instead, we should see it as a challenge to our technical writing traditions. If we're writing to enable users and reduce friction between the audience and their goals, then incorporating a chatbot front door is one step towards engineering documentation that truly achieves that goal. It's beyond time for digital publication to step away from the traditions of print media and embrace all of the superpowers of publishing in n-dimensional digital space. In the show notes, we'll provide links to Michael's post and to Ardis's posts so you can read them in full. Let's start to reflect on this by asking, why the change? For years, users' behaviour with computers, with information, has been conditioned by their interactions with search engines like Google. And when people use search engines, asking questions is one of the most common ways in which they seek information. And the statistics provide evidence of that. There's an article on SEO Copilot about some research by Surefire Search. And according to that research, around 27% of search engine queries are posed as questions. And among these question formats, how is the most commonly used one at 38% of questions, followed by why, which is 24%. In addition, the study found that half of all queries are now 4 words or more in length, indicating that users are becoming more specific and detailed in their searches. In addition to this, voice searching tends to be more conversational. And when people use a service like Siri, their interactions are more likely to be phrased as questions. And the surveys suggest around 65% of voice searches are in a question format. And now we have chatbots, where the promise is that users can get quick, direct answers, that the chatbots can understand the context of the question far better than a static document, which means they're able to give more tailored, personalised responses, and that chatbots can reduce the cognitive load. That sifting through documentation is work, where getting an answer from a chatbot directly just feels effortless. A question and answer environment like this doesn't mean that we're talking about static traditional FAQs that you have seen for many years on websites. As the Government Digital Service, along with others, have pointed out, traditional FAQs rarely work. Often they're a dumping ground for content that doesn't fit anywhere, a miscellaneous section on a website or a knowledge base. They tend to reflect organisational assumptions about what users ask, rather than actually reflecting what users need. They're often a source of content duplication and a headache to maintain. They're often a poor user experience because they force users to scan a long list of questions that might or might not be relevant to their specific situation and problem. And the Government Digital Service and others argue that if information is important enough to be in an FAQ, it should be findable and well integrated into the main content where users naturally look. So a Q&A world shouldn't be a world of static FAQs. Instead of directing users to a fixed list, every part of the knowledge base becomes a source of answers. The FAQ is everywhere, and nowhere specific. So it doesn't mean users will be navigating to a particular list. Instead, the idea is they ask their questions via a chatbot or an intelligent search bar. The big question: what does this mean for technical communicators? We don't think this shift is a death knell for technical authors, or technical writers, as the profession is called in the USA, because chatbots and other AI systems rely on a body of knowledge, and a body of knowledge with good quality information is more likely to provide good quality answers than one where the chatbot is relying on woolly, incomplete, contradictory information. So this is more about a refocusing of core skills, a subtle change. Long-form guides and help systems are likely to continue to be needed. They become the foundational content for these question and answer experiences. But here are some ways in which the role of a technical writer may need to adapt. Number one, a question and answer approach focuses on the direct path from question to a single answer. This doesn't mean abandoning structure, tables of contents for example, but rather ensuring each part can be effectively decontextualized and recontextualized by an AI system. 2. Content must be granular, capable of standing alone as a coherent answer to a specific question. 3. Clear headings, structured sections, and rich metadata, such as schemas, taxonomies, and consistent terminology, help AI systems understand, index, and retrieve information accurately. 4. Ambiguity is the enemy of AI comprehension. Our writing must be precise and unambiguous. And 5, we must become adept at predicting and understanding what users will ask, not just what tasks they perform. This means analysing search queries, support tickets, and chatbot logs to continually refine the content. One comment about these changes from Craig Wright on LinkedIn was, with the exception of metadata, isn't that what the job has been for a long time anyway? And he's right. If you've been on a training course like Cherryleaf's foundation course, then a lot of these principles are ones that we teach. And I said it was a subtle change. So one aspect may simply be that you write your content as you have before, but you check it. You check, do the topics that you have written map to the questions that people are likely to ask? Are there questions that people might ask where there are gaps? Although we said there is unlikely to be a series of long static FAQs in documentation, it might be that your content is repackaged and repurposed for AI systems to use, where it has a list of questions and a direct mapping to the answers within your knowledge base. So the future isn't about crafting a list of 20 commonly asked questions. It's about building a robust, intelligent knowledge system that is able to handle any question that a user might ask and deliver a meaningful answer to them. We think the skill set of the technical author will evolve. The core competencies will remain. We're likely to need to learn tools for publishing content to the AI-ready formats, or learn the new features that are added to existing platforms, the tools that we know and love today. We're likely to need to design content specifically for AI consumption and for question-based discovery. We're likely to need to continuously maintain and refine this content to make sure that the AI systems learn from the right sources and that they improve over time. Now, these changes, this shift, does bring challenges. AI systems can hallucinate. They can provide incorrect answers or miss important nuance. A poorly designed chatbot interface can very easily feel like a modern-day Clippy. And there is a risk that users receive shallow answers when what they need, what they want, is deeper context. And this is where technical communicators shine. They can structure content really well, and they can oversee the quality of the AI-driven experience. The promise, the opportunity, is that we end up with faster problem resolution and happier users. That users find it easier to find the content that they need. That there's less strain on support teams by being able to deflect more calls. And potentially a more strategic role for technical communication professionals, where they are the architects and curators of knowledge systems. I mentioned that we have completed a survey into the use of AI in technical communication. It's the third survey that we've done. We've done one each year for the past 3 years. And the survey didn't show that people are doing this yet. There was no mention of a question and answer approach in the answers that we were given. I won't go through all of the results in the survey. You'll find that on our blog, and I'll provide a link to that in the show notes. The survey indicated that at the moment, or within the last 12 months, AI is being used by technical communicators to do things like generate and draft first drafts of topics, generate outlines, and to do what's called scaffolding of content. They're using it to edit and rephrase complex sentences or UI text, make things clearer, to summarize long texts so you can get the gist of them, things like meeting notes and the like, to do some linting and checking of things like, is the content following the style guide? Although there are some limitations in that often chatbots fail to do that correctly. They're using it to research new topics and gather information. They're using it to create code samples and build regex or regex expressions, help with some of the more technical sides of HTML and websites, CSS, JavaScript, automating some formatting things like markdown tables, and a little bit of process and workflow improvements to start automating some tasks of getting content published, things like tagging articles. We also noticed from the survey that for the past 3 years that we have run this, there is a percentage of users that have said that their company has no plans to develop a chatbot. In 2024, that was 32% of respondents. This year, it's 28%. And it may well be that around a third of all organisations, for a number of different reasons, won't have and won't offer a chatbot to end users. The numbers of respondents that said they now have a chatbot went from 9% in 2024 to 23% in 2025. And for those that have a chatbot behind a firewall, that moved from 8 to 11%. So I would expect at least half of all organisations to offer a chatbot that draws on a knowledge base. If you'd like to know more information on how familiar the respondents said they were with AI and the terminology and the tools, how much they're using agentic AI today, then have a look at the blog post, which is called Results from our Using AI in TechCom 2025 survey. What do you think? Do you think we're moving towards a question and answer world? How is your organisation navigating this shift? Are you already designing for question-based access? You can share your thoughts on the blog post that we did on our website. You can email us info@cherryleaf.com, and we also posted it to LinkedIn, so you can add your comments on the thread there. And if you're interested in Cherryleaf, the services that we provide, the technical writing services and the training courses, you can contact us by email or have a look at our website, which is www.cherryleaf.com. And again, thank you for listening.